Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into a question that is absolutely critical if you live in or are planning to move to the Tampa Bay area. How long does a mold inspection actually take? We're going to completely demystify this whole process. We'll break down the exact timeline, look at exactly what happens while the inspector's in your house, and ultimately uncover the true value of this assessment when you're dealing with our very unique local climate challenges.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. 1. Tampa's year-round mold threat. 2. The 1 to 3 hour window. 3. The 4-step inspection process. 4. What extends the timeline. And 5. The true cost of skipping.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Tampa's year-round mold threat. Or as I like to call it, why our local climate is the ultimate villain.
To really understand why mold inspections are so crucial around here, you just have to think about this number: 70%. Tampa's subtropical climate means our humidity levels regularly push right past the 70% threshold. And that isn't just some random statistic either. It's the exact tipping point where mold spores to start colonizing surfaces like crazy. Unlike up north, where mold might just be a seasonal headache, in places like Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, Manatee, and Sarasota counties, this constant heavy moisture makes mold a literal year-round threat. It doesn't just grow down here, it absolutely thrives.
Think about those intense afternoon thunderstorms or frequent tropical storms we get. Moisture is constantly sneaking into roof joints, window seals, and foundation gaps. And all that trapped moisture, it creates the perfect hidden environment. Mold loves to just quietly establish itself behind your exterior drywall, up in the attic, under bathroom flooring, inside HVAC ductwork, or around window frames where the caulk has failed. It can be thriving down in your crawl space long before you ever see a single suspicious spot on your living room ceiling.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 1 to 3 hour window. Let's get straight to the core answer.
Which brings us to the big question we're answering today. How long does a Tampa mold inspection actually take? I mean, when you're dealing with a potential health and property risk, the absolute last thing you want is a process that drags on for weeks just to get a simple answer, right?
Well, you'll love this instant gratification. For a standard single-family residential property, a full, professional mold inspection takes just 1 to 3 hours. Yep, that's it. In the span of a single morning or an afternoon, you can have an absolute expert walk through your home, take specialized moisture readings, collect the air and surface samples, and document the whole shebang.
But hold on a second, we really need to clear up a super common misconception here. Inspection time is not remediation time. The inspection itself is highly efficient and quick. But if mold actually is confirmed and needs to be physically removed, which is the remediation phase, well, that is an entirely separate, much longer process. A tiny bathroom issue might be fixed in a day. Sure, but severe attic or multi-room contamination, that can easily take up to 5 days to fully clear out.
Let's move to Section 3, the 4-step inspection process. Time to demystify this whole black box.
You see, a professional inspection is way more rigorous than just some guy wandering around your house with a flashlight. It is a highly structured, chronological process. Step 1 is the visual assessment, mapping out known moisture risks like kitchens and bathrooms. Step 2 is active moisture detection, using high-tech equipment to literally find wet spots hidden inside your walls without having to smash them open. Step 3 is collecting air and surface samples. And finally, Step 4 is sending those samples straight to a certified lab to get hard scientific data on exactly what is floating around in your air.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is that bottom row, the outdoor control sample. You might be wondering, wait, why is my inspector testing the air outside my house if the problem is inside? It's a great question. It's because that outdoor sample gives them an essential baseline. A lab literally cannot tell you if your indoor spore levels are dangerously high unless they know exactly what the natural, normal spore count is right outside your front door on that specific day.
All right, let's jump into Section 4, what extends the timeline? Because sometimes things do push past that 3-hour mark.
So what actually makes an inspection take longer? Well, property size is a huge one. A massive 3,500 square foot multi-story home is naturally going to take a lot longer to sweep than a 1,200 square foot condo. Also, if suspected mold is widespread across a bunch of different rooms, the inspector has to set up way more individual moisture readings and take a lot more samples. And let's be real, navigating hard-to-reach spots like army crawling through hot, cramped attics or super tight crawl spaces, that just takes extra time to do safely and properly. And then, of course, we have the HVAC system. Since our air conditioning is basically running 24/7 in Tampa, the HVAC system is actually one of the most common vectors for spreading mold throughout a home. Thoroughly checking out complex, multi-zone air handlers, drain pans, and the accessible ductwork is highly time-intensive, but it is absolutely critical. Think about it. If mold gets in your HVAC, it's literally blasting spores into every single room the second the air kicks on. No thank you.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, the true cost of skipping. Why standard home inspections just aren't enough.
Take a look at this stark contrast. When you buy a house, you get a standard home inspection, right? But standard inspectors are mainly looking at structural integrity, roofing, and electrical. They are doing a visual check. They cannot see inside the walls. A specialized mold inspection, on the other hand, uses thermal imaging cameras to find cold spots that indicate hidden water. They use calibrated moisture meters that read deep inside the drywall. Your dream house can easily pass a standard inspection with flying colors while secretly hiding a massive mold colony right inside the wall cavities.
So let's talk about the financial reality. A standard professional residential mold inspection in the Tampa Bay area typically runs anywhere from $350 to $600. Honestly, when you factor in the specialized lab work and the advanced technology they're using, it is a highly accessible and fairly low-cost protective shield, especially before you commit to buying a new property.
Now contrast that affordable couple $100 inspection fee with this staggering number, $11,400. Yeah, that is what remediation can easily cost, or even way more if you skip the inspection, buy the house, and then later discover extensive hidden mold. Skipping this inspection is a massive gamble, and it's one that regularly costs unwary Tampa buyers tens of thousands of dollars.
And this brilliantly illustrates the smartest solution, the Tampa homeowner annual mold maintenance schedule. To defend yourself against a massive remediation bill, you have got to be proactive. In May, right before hurricane season, check your seals and HVAC lines. In November, after the storms have passed, get a professional inspection if your home took on any water. And regardless of the weather, just schedule a routine professional inspection with air sampling every 1 to 2 years to catch any hidden moisture before it becomes a disaster.
So it really all boils down to this. Knowing what we know now about Tampa's subtropical climate, knowing the limitations of standard home inspectors, and seeing how incredibly fast a tiny unseen water leak turns into a massive structural hazard, will you spend just 1 to 3 hours finding hidden mold today, or risk spending $11,400 fixing it tomorrow? The choice is entirely up to you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, stay proactive out there.